Hey gang, welcome back for the final day, day 3 of hashtag lovefallarts with the Creative Arts collaboration here on YouTube. And today we're going to be pulling together all of these pieces and creating a final journal page. So let's get to it. The first thing I know that I want to do is push some of this background back, and to do that I'm going to use gesso and just with a palette knife, because remembering that this is water soluble, I'm just going to smush on some gesso, and rather than brushing it, and really you could use a credit card for this, rather than brushing it, I don't want to disturb too much of that underneath color. So I'm just going to go ahead and push this around. I can actually see some of it coming up, which isn't a terrible thing. And I'm certainly going to leave, I want some of this to peek through and be undisturbed. So I'm sort of being selective. I really have no idea where this is going at this point. So I'm just giving myself some more white space to play. This is the Dina Wakley gesso, and it's actually kind of nice. It doesn't, I usually use golden or Liquitex. This seems a little bit thicker, so it's fine if you're using it. Liquitex tends to be more transparent. I think I'm going to give this a little texture while I'm down here doing this. And Golden's is super smooth and covers really well. I'm just going to rough this up a little bit. Not anything spectacular. Just pushing my blade around, and I think I am going to grab a credit card. Not my most recent one. But I like that. That feels like scrubby, sort of end of the summer season, leafy, you know, that kind of stuff that's left over. At least it is in my garden. Right now I'm taking a credit card and dipping it into this big pile of gesso, and that's creating lines for me to write on later, and it's also creating more texture here. So it's sort of a double duty thing. I'm going to take them all the way up to the top of the page, and so I have plenty of space to write, and I also think compositionally it will look good. Okay, I'll be back with some inspiration. Okay, so I went digging around and found a poem I really loved, and the link to Autumn Poems is over there on my blog. This one happens to be by Mary Hamrick, and I think she is a modern-day poet, but I couldn't find any information. But I did link it. I kept reading it, and it's so textured and so exactly beautiful that it seemed just right. So I printed this out on this stuff called, it's a Nina something printable, like transparent. It's not thin like vellum, but it's really nice. I'll see if I can find it for you. I gathered some things. This was that piece of deli paper that I was doing the leaves on. I've got my leaves here ready to go, maybe in a leaf tornado. And I also have just a bowl full of leaf prints. I have some embossing powder here I might use. I have these, I just went and found stuff that, I just dug around and found stuff that seemed like it might go. And that would be my suggestion, is to look at some poetry or quotes or whatever might push you again, or just go through your stuff and find something that might help you pull things together. I'm just going to get to work now. As I was starting to blend these inks, I just again was reading this poem, and I began to look at these. I mean, I noticed the color words, but I just grabbed inks in those color words, and rough red. This mustard seed might have to be my candied citron. Dark wine. I grabbed barn door. Smoky eyes. Oh my god, a hot chili pepper with smoky eyes. That's just beautiful. I love this poem. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm just going to probably do some ink blending here. So I'll just let you watch, and if I feel like I need to comment, I will do some voiceover. You know, I wanted to mention too that the ink from my printer was smearing a little bit, and that totally didn't bother me for this page. Probably wouldn't bother me at all, but it might have been the paper. I don't know. It might not have been dry, whatever. I'm finding that the best way to blend these distress inks is I'm just keeping one of those round pads just with a piece of Velcro attached to the bottom of my ink pad. That way I can keep a pad for each color. And starting off of the mat, um, I'm rubbing in circles and then bringing the pad onto the mat, onto the paper, so that you don't wind up with harsh edges and lines. It really looks kind of a softer blend. So tap, tap, tap onto the ink pad and circle around. I am using that craft mat, and you can see I keep holding it up to the page to see how it looks on the page and deciding, oh, I'm going to add, different color. I'm adding some red here. And I really tried to be kind of conscious of which felt applicator I'm using on this so that I don't, contaminate my ink pads themselves, and keep each applicator separate. So I just continuing to add color until it feels right. I've decided to trim down each line of this poem, so I've just got my X-Acto knife and a blade on a healing mat, and just slicing down, not all the way to the end. I'm leaving the margin of that paper intact so I don't have a lot of loose strips on my all over the place, and then I'm just removing a piece in between each paragraph. I just wanted to show you what is going on here, because it's really the difference in the way this ink is, make sure I have the right one, it's Vintage Photo, is going onto this paper, and then when I hit the area where the gesso is, it doesn't do the same thing. So I just wiped it on there, and it's just direct to paper, and it's spreading out a little bit on the page, but it's a lot on the gesso. It's a very different, and it's really adding a lot to the texture again. So, and I could probably, let me grab a baby wipe. Yeah, could definitely wipe that off at this point, or some of it off at this point. But this is, still not sure what I'm going to do with this gessoed area, so we'll see. I just wanted to do away with any white edges on this paper, so I'm going to go ahead and just, it's kind of like a vignette. It's adding a vignette. You could do this with anything. It doesn't have to be an ink pad. Okay, so now I've got sort of the vignette sort of pulling me into the center, and I kept checking this, and this is so nice and textural now. I could even I could really rough it up a little bit, and I'll eventually, when this part is done, I'll fasten it down here. But I need something for here. It's like I'm avoiding the center. So let me just play a little bit. I'm playing with these gelatos, and a couple of videos ago, I'll try to remember to link it, I used them. I found a set on Amazon that was a rainbow, the full spectrum. I think there were 12, and it was directed to kids, and I think they're called gel sticks. They appear to be the same thing as the gelatos, and you could also use portfolios for this. They're both the same in that they're sort of the water-soluble oil pastel. So I'm just rubbing, sort of scribbling with the gelato, and then rubbing that into the gessoed area, trying not to get too heavy and making sure it's rubbed in pretty well so that I'll be able to glue on top of that. Still, it's just like this big blank area, and not sure what's going on there. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just going to play a little bit more with this. I'm ready to glue down that piece of vellum, and just with some tape runner, real quick and easy on the side of the page, and rustle up those strips of paper that are loose, just adding to that textural feeling that's so apparent to me in fall. And now just starting to arrange those leaves and creasing and playing with the leaves. I'm going to use a heavy-duty glue stick on the back of these leaves to glue them down. You could use gel medium. I didn't want to glue the whole leaf down so it was flat. I wanted to retain some of that loose texture a little bit. So I'm just arranging these and gluing them down. I tried a glue stick, but because I tried a glue tape runner, but because of that little bit of oil residue from the gelatos, it wasn't taking. I went on a really lovely trip down memory lane there, thinking about writing just in a spilling fashion about being a kid and going back to school and coming home from the summers. We used to, my dad was always determined to get us out of what he called Filthydelphia for the summers. I think he was afraid of polio, and that's what started it. I just put on some glue stick onto the edge of this paper, and I'm going to finish this page up because I can't seem to I can't not foil, especially on a page like this. It just seems so drenched with the summer. So I'm just going to foil right on top of the glue stick, and this is, I think this is Ranger colors and Heidi Swap colors, but you can use any kind of foil you have. I have been playing with the Heidi Swap Mink machine, which is tons of fun. That wasn't quite ready, so I'm going to let this glue stick dry for a couple minutes, and then I'll come back. I think for mixed media applications and art journaling applications, and for many applications really, I think this might be one of my favorite ways to foil, and that is just by adding some glue stick. And yeah, you have to sort of let it dry for a minute, and then you pull up, you put it down, still picking up a lot of glue, but that's okay, because I just keep going in, find an area, and it will stick. Some of it will stick and some of it won't, which is exactly what I like about this method, is that it gives a patchy look to things, and then you can go over it again and pick up. And I just have scraps here, and they're getting all sticky and messy. I had a huge mess on my desk. It's incredible. And so you can see how nicely that works. I really like this. Talk about poor man's art foiling. Glue stick and some foil. I'm going to be back probably in a couple of weeks with some foiling, because I think it's great on holiday projects, but this is one of the techniques from my class, and I love it. I just simply love it. I'm going to put some bright green over here because I can cover it more with copper, and it's just adding, I think it's adding a little something something to this page. Let me get in close here. My fingers have like fibers from the cloth stuck to them. I am a total mess right now, but you don't care, do you? So there's some glue right there, and it's probably just tacky dry, and it's just coming up. And if I wanted more, I could just come along. I could even use, I don't seem to have a tape runner that works, despite the fact that I filled up 3 tape runners yesterday. I'm just going to put a little tape runner here and there. You could use either, it doesn't matter. Tape runner works really good too. It gives a smoother look than the glue stick. And I can just do some here. I really love the way that glue stick works, because it almost gives like a painterly look, if you can see that. I think it gives a really nice look. So that is it. This is my art journal page for this mini class. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to thumbs up. Check out the links below. I'm going to actually zoom out here. And yeah, all the supplies are linked below. You can go over to my blog for more pictures. I think I've completely forgot, as is usual for me, to take pictures as I was working. I do my best, but I'm only so organized, folks. So thumbs up. I hope you enjoyed this. Leave me comments. Let me know what you'd like to see on this channel. I am really doing a lot more videoing lately, so I would love to hear from you guys, what you'd like to see, what you're interested in, and I'll see you soon. Thanks for coming by. Don't forget, #lovefallart. Bye now.